Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Annisa Muti'ah from class H. In this occasion, I will present my proposal about implementation of e-learning in English learning, a case study at MTSN2 Bandar Lampung. In the current industrial era 4.0, information and communication technology has changed significantly. However, the COVID pandemic has forced many schools or educational institutions in Indonesia to use e-learning as the main tool in teaching and learning process. Kohdar argues that distance education enhanced by digital technology greatly contributes to education in a number of developed countries, such as the United States. Until nowadays, online learning research has become the focus of important discussion in education or literature research. Maruf and Angeli argues that online learning creates a relaxed and fun environment where students can study anytime and anywhere. With such a sudden situation that requires adapting to the new normal, there is need to find how well students accept learning in this new normal. The things described above made this research arise because of the desire to know of extent of the implementation e-learning in learning, especially learning English, and whether they wish to continue to use this e-learning in the future even though the pandemic is over. Identification of the problems related to learning in the current new normal era, namely the extent to which e-learning has been implemented so far in e-learning, so that in the future, by utilizing technological advance, the learning system will be more innovative and creative. Limitation of the problem limit and focused on an in-depth analysis of the implementation of e-learning on case study at MTSN2 Bandar Lampung. Formulation of the problem. In this research have two formulation of the problem. First is how the implementation of e-learning toward English learning for MTSN2 Bandar Lampung students. And the second is, do students intend to continue to use e-learning as source of their learning in the future even after the pandemic is over. Objective of in this research, find out how the implementation of e-learning in English learning is carried out at MTSN2 Bandar Lampung. Significance of the study. In this research is important to find out how the implementation of e-learning in English learning, so that this research will be a reference for teaching staff and educational institutions that plan to continue to develop e-learning as a learning resource in the present and future. Relevance research. This research used to relevant research first by Irhas Rahmat Sharif with the title The Implementation of Distance Learning in English Language Teaching at SMAN1 Wangon, and the second by Lisa Azaria Sukmasham with the title Exploring Student Perception of E-Learning in Studying English During COVID Pandemic, a study at English 8th grade student of SMP Islam Altirah 1 Makassar. Okay, this research used descriptive qualitative approach. The subject is English teachers and students at MTSN2 Bandar Lampung, and the object in this research is the implementation of e-learning in learning English, and the place is at MTSN2 Bandar Lampung, and the time is 2022 until 2023. The data collection techniques in this research will be observation, interviews, and documentation. And the data analysis technique will be data reduction, data representation, conclusion drawing, and verification. And the data validity technique is triangulation with source, triangulation with method, and triangulation with theory. Okay, the systematic of discussion in this research will be referred to the research question. First is how the implementation of e-learning towards English learning for MTS and to Bandar Lampung students, and do students intend to continue the use of e-learning as a source of their learning in the future even after the pandemic is over. Literature review. First is definition of e-learning. Naidu stated that e-learning is a teaching and learning system utilizing innovation in information communication. Benefit of e-learning, Siahan Indra Kusuma and Putri state that e-learning provides interaction between student and subject materials. The characteristic of e-learning, to get student teaching material obtained from e-learning is no longer dependent on the learner. Then learning resource will be easily obtained by anyone and anywhere. Advantage of e-learning, absorption is simpler, fairly practical, each more concise, access 24 hours a day. Disadvantages of e-learning, lack of interaction, tends to training instead of education itself, changing the part of learners, internet network, lack of qualified human resource, using the computer is inherently challenging, the learners could become frustrated, the learners can feel isolated. E-learning application, e-learning in studying English, the device refers innovation in computer technology has long been used in the teaching and learning of EFL. Computer technology has been used for language teaching since 19th and 16th. E-learning application that are often used are Google Classroom, WhatsApp Group, Zoom Meeting, Google Meets, and learning application provided by school agencies. E-learning problems during COVID-19 pandemic, school resolutions are not prepared, confusing material, and too much homework, students focus on learning. Well, in the current industrial era 4.0, information and communication technology has changed significantly. Creative young people and academics have benefited greatly from the current technological era. Digital technology is able to provide many opportunities and ideas to provide quality and method change in creative and innovative learning. Pohdar argues that distance education enhanced by digital technology greatly contributes to education in a number of developed countries such as in United States. However, the COVID pandemic has forced many school or educational institutions in Indonesia to use learning as main tool in teaching and learning process. Since 2020 until now, education institutions in Indonesia have continued to adapt to a new normal era called the new normal, where policies can change at any time, such as learning that was previously done conventionally must be done online. Then when the pandemic begins to decline, limited offline learning is held, and this is still being reviewed until the pandemic really ends. Throughout the world, especially in Indonesia, the spread of COVID-19 pandemic has caused many changes in social interaction, organization, especially field of education. Until now, online learning research has become the focus of the focus of important discussion in education or literature research. There are many online learning research that are often used by educational institutions in Indonesia, such as WhatsApp, Google Classroom, Zoom, and several other e-learning platforms. Furthermore, learning research e-learning has now become a technology that allows students to have access to education at any time and any place. Keyword and Price considers online research as means to improve teaching, build flexibility in teaching, and reduce teaching costs. Maruf and Angeli argued that online learning creates a relaxed and fun environment where students can study anytime and anywhere. With such a sudden situation that requires adapting to the new normal era, there is a need to find how well students accept learning in this new normal. The thing described made this research arise because the desire to know the extent of the implementation of e-learning in learning, especially in English learning, and whether they to continue to this learning in the future, even though the pandemic is over. Okay, in this research, used two previous research. Two previous research were used, which were very useful as scientific references. The first is implementation of distance learning in English language teaching at SMAN 1 Wangen. Previous research conducted by Irhas Rahmat Sharif with the title The Implementation of Distance Learning in English Language Teaching at SMAN 1 Wangen. The problem discussed in this research are how the implementation of distance learning in ELT at SMAN 1 Wangen. The research used qualitative descriptive method in this research. Then the data collecting technique in this research was triangulation with consisting of the interview, observation, and documentation. The analysis the data in this research are data reduction, data display, and verification. Research finding in this research, there are three major steps taken by distance learning. In implementation distance learning, namely the preparation stage, the implementation stage, and the evaluation stage. And the second, exploring student perception of e-learning in studying English during COVID-19 pandemic. A study at 8th grade student of SMP Islam Al-Tirah 1 Makassar. The second previous research was conducted by Lisa Azaria Sukmasham with the title Exploring Students' Perception of E-Learning in Studying English During COVID Pandemic. A study at the 8th grade student at SMP Islam Al-Tirah 1 Makassar. The problem discussed in this research are what are student perception of e-learning in studying English during COVID pandemic. This research used descriptive quantitative research. Then the population of this research was the 8th grade student of Islam Al-Tirah 1 Makassar, which consists of 30 samples. The technique used in this research was random sampling technique, and the data were collected by questionnaire. The researchers used Likert scale and descriptive analysis to analyze the data. The result in this research, student perception of e-learning in studying English during COVID-19 pandemic have positive response. Most of students was agree with the benefit of learning. This research is related to previous research about. It discussed implementation e-learning in ALT class. The difference between this research and previous research is the object and the research question. This research will focus on case study at MTS N2 Bandar Lampung, and the research question that will be used and how the implementation e-learning at MTS N2 Bandar Lampung, and do students intend to continue to use e-learning as a source of their learning in the future, even after the pandemic is over. Previous research only focused on the implementation of e-learning during pandemic. In this research, the researchers will be focused on two topics, namely the implementation of e-learning and continued use of e-learning even though the pandemic is over. Well, that's all about my presentation. Thank you for your nice attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.